I'm going to tell you a little bit of a history of my history with the club, because the history really is what drove some of the further involvements that Diane and I have had financially with the club. Early on, must have been, I don't know, 15 years ago or more, I was attending a club function, a speaker, and Skip actually followed me into the restroom and asked me if the Correct Foundation would be willing to underwrite the acquisition and preservation of the club's archives, which, as you know, are extremely valuable, go back for well over 100 years and incorporate virtually every speaker that's ever of prominence that's ever been speaking to the club. And so I said, well, Skip, I've got an idea that we should try. And I said, you know, I'm also involved with this right-wing think tank, the Hoover Institution. I'm going to get back to the right-wing part in a minute. And they have an incredible archive, and they have a wonderful library. And I think that maybe the thing to do is to have the Commonwealth Club archives contributed to the Hoover Institution with the idea that we would continue to own them, but that the Hoover would preserve them, digitize them, and do all of those things that, you know, people do with archival material. Well, Gloria thought that was just a wonderful idea after I shared it with her. And she went to the board, and there were a lot of discussions at the board level at that time concerning whether it would taint the club to be in a partnership with the Hoover Institution. I'm telling you the way it actually happened. Fortunately, two things happened. One is the marriage with the Hoover was consummated, and thereafter, Gloria came to me and said, gee, it would be really wonderful if you could join our board. And I said, Gloria, I don't go to board meetings. And she said, not to worry, you have plenty of things to contribute without coming to board meetings. So I actually lied, because I did attend one. And partly because of that conversation, I'm operating now on Jewish guilt, because I felt that it was important, given the fact that Gloria accepted my terms of not attending board meetings, that she'd get plenty of mileage out of me. So I felt obligated when this project came along to help out. So it was driven, Gloria, by that conversation that we had early on. There are a couple of other things that happened at the club that have endeared me to this organization and to Gloria. One is that, you know, I've made a number of comments about the Hoover, and I think that maybe gives you an idea of my political inclinations, which did not always comport with the inclinations of the membership and the board of our club. And once I came to a meeting, and there was a kind of a lengthy conversation about inviting George Bush to the 100th anniversary of the club. And, you know, it wasn't really, I wouldn't say that the idea was joyously accepted. And I said, Gloria, you know, I want to be involved with the club, but I want to be able to do something that perhaps gives some other points of view to our members and to the people that attend our various wonderful sessions and so forth. And so I told her about an idea that I had where I wanted to put together a program called American Values. And American Values was exactly what it sounds like. It was embracing our great Constitution, our limited government, our freedom, and bringing speakers to the Commonwealth Club that expressed that point of view. Gloria endorsed the idea, And we've had an American values program in effect at the club for many years now. Lastly, in terms of why, I would contribute significantly with my wife Diane to a place like the Commonwealth Club. This club embodies three things that I think are paramount to our view of how to support things philanthropically. Number one, got a great mission. Wonderful, wonderful history. Number two, got extraordinary leadership in Gloria Duffy, the best. Number three, it has a constituency in its board and its membership and its staff that is superlative. And I would love to be able to mention all of the people by name that I so much admire, but let's just say that the entire spectrum of what we look for in supporting something like the Commonwealth Club was in place in spades. And Gloria, you mentioned one other motivation, with that little bridge over there. You've noticed that there are some lights there at night, and we had a little bit to do with those lights, and we wanted to create a place. Since I live in Woodside with Diane, we don't have an opportunity to look at the bridge lights. So we will come here and view that wonderful San Francisco Bay Bridge and its wonderful light show. Thank you very much.